Okay, well, this is like I wish I used to have a
Well, hi.
clicker. So you're gonna take the prompt. Okay.
They don't like really fit in the chicken coop. Like, and it's not like they don't fit. It's like their kiddie pool and stuff doesn't fit. They're accessories, yes.
Gotcha.
The duck accessories.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Dr.
You missed it.
What extent?
I do.
Like if the middle continues, that's comes in the slash road to get to the, you know, that comes trail down and the town and the city.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
How far?
All the time, all the time, all the time.
So if they have a driveway, then they can go to.
So there shouldn't be stuff beyond that. On there. If we're in a situation that you it's a city access, everyone has access to that. I mean, not just their properties, but to that.
To the road.
To the road itself. So there shouldn't be anything on there that's
Basement.
part of
Place.
the city.
When it's finished, it should just be.
Brilliant.
All right, so I at least I can answer.
And that's on, there shouldn't be anything obstructing. And we do have, and I know we had, sawhorses in the road, because we have sewer extension there. We used to reduce the sewers. And then there is at the end of the right where there's that basically stopping. So there's those. That's obstructing. Other than that, we shouldn't see the right way.
God.
And it's not on the property. I mean, fence isn't there. It's not on the property.
The one that they had when I saw it,
Yeah,
yes.
and all that was, you guys double checked.
I'm talking about right here.
Like we did. And Jim double checked it out. Shannon.
Yeah.
So they all looked at it and they were all within the right of way.
Okay, and all the stuff seems to have. I feel like we were like, there was a bunch of. That's why I got kind of. Right.
In this case.
And then.
Really?
The gravel walk.
We'll know tomorrow after. Today at 5.
Everything else should be.
But yes, we have a lot of questions.
You know what's so hard it is to like find stamp, even in my office when we have stamp, like to find actual stamps.
Jay, I believe in.
Yes.
I don't know what it was that tipped me off.
Like writing.
All right, well, every week.
I'm assuming.
Oh, not that one.
Are you ready? I'm sorry. Fit in 5 places.
Remember, Sarah?
Yes, I am, thank you.
Okay, good.
Wasn't carbonic acid.
That's clear.
We need microphones like that for everyone.
Sarah, you sound better than the normal microphones.
Hey, I'll just make this my new home.
Yeah, we'll all do it. We'll all just call in. All right. This meeting of the Livingston City Commission is called to order. May we have roll call, please?
Chairperson Bennett,
Present.
Commissioner Hoagland. Here. Commissioner Friedman.
Here.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Present.
Commissioner Sander. President Lightfoot.
All right, we're all here. We'll now have a moment of silence. Thank you very much. We'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Our first order of business are our standard consent items for the evening. I will ask the commission, is there any consent item that you'd like to pull before we motion and vote on the items? Okay. Is there a motion from the commission for the approval of consent items?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we pass consent items A, B, C, D.
I'll second.
So there's a motion to approve consent items by Commissioner Friedman and a second by Commissioner Hoagland. Roll call, please.
Chairperson Bennett?
Yes.
Commissioner Holberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Freeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
4.
Commissioner Sandberg? 4.
Motion passes. We do have one proclamation tonight. Proclamation is Youth Week proclamation. Whereas the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks has designated May 1st to May 7th as Youth Week to honor America's junior citizens for their accomplishments and to give fitting recognition to the services to community, state, and nation. And whereas Livingston Elk Lodge number 246 will sponsor an observance during that week in tribute to the junior citizens of this community. And whereas no event could be more deserving than our support and participation than one dedicated to these young people who represent the nation's greatest resources and who in the years ahead will assume the responsibilities for the advancement of our free society. And whereas our youth need the guidance, inspiration, and encouragement which we alone can give in order to help develop those qualities of character essential for future leadership and go forth to serve America. And whereas to achieve this worthy objective, we should demonstrate our partnership with youth, our understanding of their hopes and aspirations, and sincere willingness to help prepare them in every way for the responsibilities and opportunities of citizenship. Now, therefore, I, James Bennett, Chairperson of the Livingston, Montana City Commission, do hereby proclaim the first week of May 2017 as Youth Week and urge all departments of government, civic, fraternal, and patriotic groups, our citizens generally, to participate wholeheartedly in this observance. We do have several scheduled public comments. Our first is Chief McInnes.
Just wanted to take this time to present to you Captain Patty Walker, probably our longest serving continuous employee with the City of Livingston Fire Department, who will be retiring on Saturday. His final shift will be Saturday. Had the honor of serving with him for my short tenure here, 1 year, but during that year, I told people earlier today I've been able to do 3 firsts that I hadn't been able to do ever in my career. And that was to give him 3 different awards. One was for a life-saving award where he was able to rescue a victim from a house fire. The second one was for rescuing another firefighter in a collapse, which is something rare to ever happen in the fire service. And today was the first time I was ever able to honor somebody who is retiring after his full career in the fire service. I wanted to present him to the commission on his last shift with the department.
Thanks for the good lunch.
Thank you very much, Captain Walker, for your service and dedication to the community of Livingston. Thank you very much. I'm going to say, now can we end the meeting on a high note? All right. Thank you, Chief McGinnis. Our next scheduled public comment is Marilyn Hartley for the Canon Committee. Marilyn?
First of all, Commissioners, I'd like to thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time to speak with you related to the Park County Canon display project that we've been working on for
Marilyn?
some time.
If you can sit down, and if you could speak into the microphone, that way we can get you recorded a little better.
Okay. You want me to start?
No, that's fine.
Back last summer, I was commissioned by the Park County Commissioners to start a committee to look into getting the cannon, the Park County's historic Civil War cannon, back out on display on the county property. And we found some people who were willing to serve on the committee. We did approach Lisa Lowy on having a person from the city sit on that committee, but at the time, staffing was short, and there was a lot going on, and it was not apparently in the cards for that to happen. So we moved forward with the project. It took us a little while to figure out what flavor the display was going to take. We knew from the beginning that we wanted to try to replicate the pedestal base that it sat on. We wanted to try to make it historically accurate from that perspective. But we also recognize that in order to keep the cannon safe from vandalism and protect it from the elements, we needed to enclose that, have an enclosed structure. The shape of the pedestal base did not lend itself very well to an enclosure that was going to be visually pleasing. We have two contractors, Battle Ridge Construction, Sean Ryan, and BioSeal, Greg Parks, that have been working with us. They've volunteered their services, they've volunteered their labor to build this, and as much of the materials as we need them to. They've been very generous with their time and very helpful. Mr. Ryan suggested that we recreate the pedestal base for the cannon to make it look as much historical as possible, and then set a structure over top of that that would provide for the ability to walk around the pedestal base. And we fell in love with that idea pretty quickly, but we also quickly realized that if we were going to allow for public access to walk around there, we needed to make it ADA compliant. So like most projects, they get a life of their own and they start, getting a little bigger. We finally have a structure. This would be, on the screen is the side of the cannon that will be visible from the corner on D Street and Calendar. The plan is to move the big rock. The Park County Commissioners have already approved our plans and positioning of it. The big rock will be moved back to the Poor Farm where it came from. It was originally designated as a monumental stone of sorts back on the cemetery at the Poor Farm. And Commissioner Laren at the time had the rock brought in when they created the little honorary garden on the corner. The honorary garden is split so that it looks like there's a walkway up the middle of it. And this is what you would see if you were standing right on the corner, looking right through the middle of that little garden. The cannon will, in essence, the muzzle of the cannon will be aimed at Carl Canucci's to give you an orientation of what it's like. This will be storefront glass on this side. On the left-hand side, I don't know how many more you have on there. This is the shape of the pedestal base with the structure enclosed around it. This is you can go to the next one. This is the end that would be facing east, and this will also be storefront glass. The west end will have double doors, large enough for us to get the cannon out for the parade, get in and out, and also allow for access to, you know, from time to time, we may open it up for public to just go in and walk around and spend some one-on-one, up close and personal time with it. And then the back wall will be fully enclosed, with room for historical pictures. I know Paul at the museum has a plan for picture of the old courthouse, where the cannon stood in front of it. And also there's a picture of the cannon with all of the soldiers that were presented as a whole picture. So it will have historical pictures, maybe an artist rendition of a backdrop from Gettysburg or Little Bighorn or whatever, where they believe the cannon was served. There are stakes out in the yard to show the positioning of where, I should say the lawn, to show the positioning of what our plan is. And as soon as the ground dries out enough to get some heavier equipment on it without damage to the ground, we plan to get started. We brought this to you because you have a vested interest in the property, and we wanted to keep you apprised of what was going on. It is a county project, therefore we are not necessarily requesting that the city provide any funds, you know, towards this project. We just would like to know that the city commission is on board with what we plan to do with the project, and so there aren't any surprises for you. If you would choose to make us any small contribution to the project, that is fine. We're doing pretty well with our fundraising, and we're not anticipating that there's going to be any problem from a fiscal perspective either. So if you have any questions or concerns, we would like to hear them at this point. If you have any kudos or whatever, we just like to know, you know, what your thoughts are on our project, and you know, if you support it. What we're doing.
All right. Well, thank you, Carolyn. It's nicely presented. Is there any questions, clarifications from the commission for Marilyn tonight?
I like it. Yeah, I think that's nice design. And people involved with their talents are excellent people, and I think they'll do a fine job.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Brett Johnson, Berg Excavation has donated his services to do the excavating.
Mr. Holman?
Yeah, it looks like a great project. Just more of a curious question. How is it going to be ADA? Will they put concrete?
We will be concreting that part of the walkway that looks like the little garden. They have the black plastic edging there, but the stones are all the same. We will probably concrete that and maybe put the exposed aggregate in there to keep that little bit of stone look to it. But it will have to be concrete for wheelchair access. The part of it that within the structure itself that needs to be ADA is the walkway around it needs to be 3 foot for it to meet ADA compliance.
I love the project. Looks great.
Thank you. We're excited to see it pitching.
Mr. Sandberg, do you have any comments or clarification on the cannon project? Are you there, Commissioner Sandberg? Just get cut off. I got it dropped. Okay. All right. The only question I had was the one I brought up earlier this week, and I remember several years back there was a group that wanted to put a memorial there for wounded and fallen soldiers. Did anyone do a little research on that so we found out what that was all about and where the money went for that?
I did check with Lisa Holmquist, who is on our committee for the cannon. If she was aware of it, she was always on the ladies auxiliary for the VFW, and I'm pretty sure she would have some kind of awareness of any kind of committee, organization like that. The only thing she could think of was, she said they tried to get what she classified as a wounded warrior kind of
Maybe that's
thing,
what it was.
get it going, but it never really got off the ground.
Uh-huh.
And so that's the only thing she could think of.
Because I remember, I kind of dedicated some time, they had a fundraiser once, a couple times. And they raised money. Do you remember this, Mel? Yeah. They raised money, and I was just wondering what happened to the group and where the money went, because people donated for a monument of some sort that was going to be placed in a similar location.
Well,
So
Park County has, and it was always been my understanding that the money was raised for the cannon after they refurbished it, and but maybe that's what it is. But there was $5,000 raised in conjunction with that sits in the county coffers that we will have access to when we start building. So I don't know
so
if
the
that's
county
something.
had it slotted as a cannon restoration project?
And it's been held in restricted funds for several years now, and so that will go. Where our plan is precisely to put that all towards the storefront glass. If we come glass.
I guess my only thought is that just to see how follow up with that to find out, because I knew the guy and I knew that he was collecting money for it. He had one or two fundraisers, so I'm just wondering where the money went for that. That'd be my only concern.
Yeah, that would be another.
But otherwise, the cannon project's great, and how, do you remember where it was used? Did you say?
They believe that it was used very briefly at Gettysburg towards the end of the war, and then it was shipped out here to be used in the wars with the Indians. They're not sure if it spent any time at Little Bighorn, but it ended up in the Helena area and at the Fort Harrison up there, and from there it was decommissioned, and some people from Livingston gathered funds or whatever they needed to do to have it to pay for it and bring it to Livingston.
Do we have Commissioner Sandberg back again?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Do you have any questions of clarification or comments on the cannon project for Marilyn Hartley?
I do, and I apologize if you just finished discussing this, but what caused the cannon to be removed the last time and taken out of display?
It was determined by the Park County Commissioners that the cannon had deteriorated to the extent that it could present some potential danger for little kids who might take a notion to climb on it or something like that. And it was out in the weather, and they felt it got to a point where we had to decide whether we were going to try to save it or not. And so it was removed from in front of the courthouse and taken up to the landfill where it was stored in the building up there until they could make arrangements with Jim Bluer to do the restoration. And from there, once he completed that, it's been over at the museum in a storage over there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other points of clarification at this point? Sure. Mr. Freeman.
The gentleman that was involved in that was left the area and then came back again, and I've lost track of him. So I looked at it on my phone because I had his name in there. But the thing completely became a dead issue after that. So, but
Yeah,
there
it
was money for it, and I have no idea how that worked out.
would be interesting to know,
I'll go
For
through my
sure,
files
I have
too
to.
and see if I can find anything.
the final dimensions of the building are 15 feet by 20. Is the final dimension. Those posts and stuff will be all rough cut timber frame, and as kind of rustic as we can possibly make it. We do have one more fundraiser coming up too in May, so we're doing
How much more funds do you need?
The basic premises, I've had people ask that too. As much as we can raise to offset the cost of the materials, which we haven't received an estimate from the contractor yet. We want to cover as much of at least of the materials as we possibly can. The storefront glass is going to be pretty expensive. To date, we have raised with the $5,000 that's already sitting in the county coffers, we have raised another $10,000 so far. So if we could, if we can make another 5, we'd probably be pretty happy.
Commissioner Holman.
What's the next fundraiser?
It is a combination raffle with a bowling attachment to it. Basically, you buy a raffle ticket, you can get a token to bowl a game at Treasure Lanes on May 20th to earn more free tickets to put into that. So for every 9 or 10 pin strike, we'll give you another ticket to do that. We will have some surprise prizes. Our major prize for that is what we call a backyard package. It's a combination of a 7-piece patio set with an umbrella, a charboil gas grill, and a Husqvarna mower and a trimmer. And it's worth about $1,800. We're going to do kids too. We're going to give away a girl's 20-inch bike and a boy's 20-inch bike. Kids can come and bowl with a token from an adult, or they can, for $1, they can bowl a game and with the bumpers up, and they can earn tickets to put into the bicycle. So we're trying to make it as fun as we can. We've worked hard on this, so we want to have some fun too, and it's fun to watch do that. But that's going to be probably our last fundraiser. We do have some glasses that were specially made up for the Cannon. It says I supported the Cannon project, and those are now reduced to $15, and we may even get into some t-shirts, we're not sure yet. But we are planning a rededication ceremony for the 4th of July, probably in the afternoon, and looking forward to that.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you for presenting it for us tonight. Appreciate it. All right, I don't know if everyone got the addendum for this evening. We do have a third scheduled public comment. Ms. Leslie Feigl with the Chamber of Commerce.
Your copies of the grants.
Oh, okay.
Is that time of year?
Is that, Sarah, do you have that in electronic form?
I can definitely send one over for her tomorrow. Or send one over, yes.
Yeah. Sarah, they're passing out a grant application for something at the chamber.
It's the marketing plan for
The marketing plan with the chamber.
17-18.
Okay.
Yes. So
Did
you
you
won't be able
do,
to see it because you don't have a copy. But
Right.
Leslie said that you would send an electronic copy. Just go ahead and send it to Mr. Pardus, and we'll get it out to the commission.
okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
absolutely. So Leslie Feigl with the chamber this year is Chris Covington. He's the president of our board this year. So this is the marketing plan for FY18. As I said, the first so the slideshow final. There you go. That's one. So nope. So basically, the very first page that you have here, you will see the lodging tax revenue. That should be it right there.
Top one? Oh, sorry.
Right there. That's okay, I can continue without it. And I've tried going down to the fourth slide, if you back out of this. So the lodging tax revenue, the fourth one, right? Oh, one up. One more, there you go. As you can see on this very first chart, that's it, just go to the next one. And the next one. There you go. So overall, 2016 came in at a positive 2%. Even with the river closure, we still, with the loss, we still came in at a positive number. And so what that does is that brings in our dollars of our 4% that we receive here in Livingston for the CVB at $30,000 this year for our marketing projection. And we try to stay within a 10% range in case there's anything catastrophic that happens within the 4-month period of the receiving funds for the remainder of 2017. So as you can see on the grant, the final pages of the grant, when you have time to look through it later, you will see that, and again on a pie chart, that we have broken out the dollars just under $30,000, but we always give ourselves a little window. So basically, when we create this report, it's done with the Montana brand pillars, and that is the third page there that you have. The award that we recently received this year, 2017, was because of number 2, and that was Vibrant and Charming Small Towns that serve as the gateways to our natural wonders, which is the first national park, which is Yellowstone. And we do here in Livingston understand that when it comes to marketing nationwide, and this year we will be going global with our marketing plan, that we do have to tailor it around understanding that we are a town that survives a lot on tourism. And the, it's an extremely important part of who we are. And moving forward this year, we are focusing on this again. We have, as you will go through the grant again at a later time, there's a lot of verbiage in here. You will see that they, everything within here goes around the state brand pillars, these top 3 pillars right here. So when we get to later in the grant here, you will see that most of our grant is tailored around the summer over the last few years, but this year we are going to market to the winter and shoulder seasons. This is something that, first of all, you want to keep summer still going strong, but with winter, this being our new year, we want to stick some money into that program and focus on what we have, which is a year-round destination just inside the northern entrance to the park coming up in spring of 2018. I've been speaking about this about the last year and a half, working with Xanterra, finding out what their new plan is going to be. That is going to open up a whole new doorway for us here in Livingston, and super excited about it. When you're talking about a winter destination, when you have a community between you and the park that is not going to be 100% on board, that means that it's good for us. That means that having our hoteliers all understanding that we're going to be the backup plan. We're going to be the destination because we have the nightlife, we have all the live theater, we have, the music venues that are going year round. And when you're done traipsing through the park, you're going to come back up to Livingston, and this is going to be our big push. Another really positive thing, I'm getting over my nervousness, sorry. So another positive thing here is that we are going to be using a company this year called HMS Global. This is our first year with them. They've broken away from National Park Journal, which we still do their advertising in the magazine piece. But this new company is 70% United States. 30% of it is going to be outside of the United States. The countries that we're actually going to be marketing to for the first time ever is, here we go, international: Canada, Germany, Italy, France, and the UK. You're going to see our commercials. We're using 3 of the 2 shorts, 3 of the 4 shorts, and the 1 main commercial for this marketing, as well as some of these beautiful pieces that if you go past this, You'll see some of the samples of the print marketing pieces that we have here. There's a couple of them. These are some full page ads. And as you can see in here, basically it is about utilizing the pictures to kind of show what we are year round, everything from the snow to the hiking to the different events that we have during the season. So the other lovely part is that a lot of this is going to be online marketing with, again, the videos, social media. Actually, National Park Journal just did one for us the other day, and they highlighted the Murray. In one day, there were over 36,000 hits in like less than 12 hours. It was something crazy. So this is the kind of marketing push they do for us, and it's going to take us national. We already have in the top 3 traveler groups are Canada, Montana, Oregon, and Washington are kind of tied. We're seeing a new push of travelers. It's the new millennial coming from California. And this new millennial group, these are the money spenders. So Hoffman and York, who just did the marketing plan for the state of Montana this year, who had us go through this full day planning, which I can also forward this whole plan to you. It's about 82 pages. It will give you kind of an idea on what the marketing here is in the state of Montana, how tourism fits into it, where the dollars are coming from. And so a lot of what I did, again, in here with some of these pieces has to do with them targeting the millennials. So, and then the last parts of this mess that I have in front of me here is that tour buses. So we actually have just tonight confirmed about 40 minutes ago that we now have our very first tour bus that holds 6 people that will be utilized in the valley. We're going to be marketing through our hotels and through the chamber. We also have a charter bus. First time ever, I get goosebumps when I say this. That starting December 1st, we'll be taking skiers up to the Bridger Bowl, dropping them off in the morning, bringing it back at the end of the day. This same charter bus, which is by Charter USA, which is Stillwater, they have they take the miners over in the buses. So they are going to give us a bus that'll take people down to Gardner in the morning, drop them off, so that they can take the Yellowstone Association buses up into the tour up into Yellowstone, and then we pick them up at the end of the day, bring them back to Livingston. So just a few things that we're working on, and this is all due to the CBB money that we received both this year, but I had some extra funds left over, and what we're doing this next year.
Great. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you very much.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, does anyone have any questions or want to get some clarification at all? Mr. Sandberg, you there still?
Yes, I am, thank you.
Okay.
I know it's hard when I don't see that.
No, it's okay. Commissioner Hoagland.
I'm really glad to hear about the Bridger Bowl connection that you spoke of just at the end. I know a lot of people have been talking about it for probably 10 years or so it's great.
Yeah. I'm a little silent when I work on things, but we've been working on this for a few months, and now that we have Charter USA as a chamber member and on board to want to participate and do more in Livingston, I think it's great. And they already help with our community so greatly. They take 2 buses of workers, both men and women from our community, every day, 7 days a week over to the line. So it's great to have a company like that being super supportive in our community.
That's right.
And I'm so sorry, the last thing was that I wanted to ask for a letter of support. It's not that you have to vote on it. I would like, because we are now already CBB, and you already gave us an approval letter to be a CBB for the community 3 years ago. But it would also be great every year when I give this presentation and you look over the grant, if you would like to submit it to me for when we turn in the grant on the 8th. So I'm asking you to think about it. Yes, May 8th is when we submit the grant. I go in front of the June, on June 4th, in front of the Tourism Advisory Council to do their approval.
All right. Do you think we have a copy of the letter of support we supplied to them last year? Yeah. Why don't we take that out and modify it for this year? get that signed. I don't remember if it was signed by the city manager or the commission, but figured that one out. Yeah, okay. Leslie, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to our public hearings, we do have two public hearings this evening. The first public hearing is for ordinance number 2063, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Livingston, Montana, amending section 4-41 entitled Civil Offenses Exceptions by adding an exception to subpart C pertaining to the Bozeman Trail connector located between Jack Weiner Memorial Park and Fleshman Creek Road in Livingston, Montana. Mr. Carves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the second reading of the ordinance, and as you say, it simply creates an off-leash area on the Bozeman Trail connector from Jack Weiner Park up to Fleshman Creek Road.
Right. This is a public hearing. So this public hearing is now open. Is there anyone who'd like to make a comment? Excuse me, on ordinance number 2063. Public comment on ordinance 2063. Anyone want to make a comment on the ordinance 2063? All right, that was the third call. This public hearing is now closed. I would entertain a motion from the commission on ordinance number 2063. Is there one?
Hey, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to pass ordinance number 2063.
I'll second.
So there is a motion by Commissioner Friedman and a second by Commissioner Hoagland. Commission discussion before there is a vote. I don't see your hand, Commissioner Sandberg. You got any comments or all?
No, thank you.
Okay. There's no discussion from the commission. May we have roll call, please?
Chairperson Bennett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoagland. Yes. Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
4.
Commissioner Sandberg,
4.
Motion passes. Our second ordinance public hearing for the evening is ordinance number 2064, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Livingston, Montana, amending ordinance 2049 and Chapter 9, Article 4 of the Livingston Municipal Code entitled Parking, Stopping, and Standing by establishing fire department parking on either side of the Calendar Street entrance and establishing a civil penalty for violation. Mr. Cardos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is also the second reading of the ordinance that basically codifies an already used practice that creates a designated parking for our fire leadership in front of the city county complex.
Perfect. All right. This is a public hearing, so this public hearing on ordinance number 2064 is now open. Is there anyone who would like to make a comment on ordinance 2064? Any comments on ordinance 2064? All right. This public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion from the commission on ordinance 2064?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2064.
I'll second that.
So there's a motion by Commissioner Hoagland, second by Commissioner Schwartz. Commission discussion and clarification. Commissioner Hoagland.
I may have missed this, but what will the signage look like to indicate?
In this case, the curbs are painted red to indicate that it's reserved for fire personnel. There'll also be signs indicating that it is reserved for fire personnel.
24 hours a day?
24 hours a day.
Any other comments? May we have roll call, please?
Chairperson Bennett?
Yes.
Commissioner Holton? Yes. Commissioner Friedman?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
4.
Commissioner Sandberg?
4.
Motion passes. We have been requested by the administration to table, that table ordinance, number 2065, Mr. Cardus.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This originally was intended to amend the ordinance and activities of the court. Since it was outdated, it was saying that the court was actually handling finances when they were not. It was the finance office. However, with some further instruction, we're going to need to amend the ordinance one more time. So I would ask you to table this ordinance until I'm able to change it correctly and bring it back and forth.
Jay, do we need a motion on the tabling, or can we just go ahead and table it?
Not sure.
Be a good idea. In general, you should make a motion to table.
Is there a motion to table ordinance number 2065?
I'll make a motion to table ordinance number 2065.
Second.
So there's a motion by Commissioner Schwartz, second by Commissioner Friedman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chairperson Bennett,
Yes?
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Four.
Commissioner Sandberg. Four.
Motion passes. We do have two resolutions this evening. First resolution is resolution number 4725, resolution of the City Commission of the City of Livingston, Montana, authorizing participation in the Board of Investments of the State of Montana short-term investment pool and authorizing the execution and delivery of documents related thereto. Mr. Cardus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution is an administrative resolution. All it does is allow our finance officer to be the designated official that can place funds into and take funds out of the staff.
Is there a motion from the commission on resolution number 4725?
Yeah, I make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we pass resolution 4725.
I'll second.
Well, there's a motion by Commissioner Friedman, second by Commissioner Hoagland. Any commission discussion? Any
James, I have a question.
Commissioner Sandberg.
So, understanding just, formality and what you've, in the past, I'm just kind of curious, if the city has looked at other options for, investments besides the SIP.
Mr. Cardus?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, we had looked at several options. The main advantage to the STIP is the fluidity. It's very simple to place funds in and take funds out. It allows us a lot of liquid capital that we can then use if we need to on other projects. And that, while not the best return on investment we can get, it does give us the most flexibility in executing the budget.
And what were those other options that you looked at?
We looked at some municipal mutual funds, basically, some commercial ones as well, standard savings accounts, CDs, other financial basic investments. But in general, none of them were as flexible as the STIP allowed us to be.
Okay. With my work with the open structured investments that follow the same protocol and restrictions, we were able to have a relationship with a local financial institution with the same amount of liquidity with a better rate of return. So, I just throw that out there and have maybe an option to look at down the road as well.
We can certainly pursue it in the future. Even though we are authorizing to use the STIP, it doesn't mandate that we use them. So if we find another investment vehicle that's more appropriate, then we can certainly switch over funds.
Okay, cool.
Is there any other questions for clarification about? What's our interest rate on the STIP?
Do not have the interest rate in front of me, and I think it varies depending on how many participating municipalities.
Okay. And Commissioner Sandberg, what kind of interest rate will you see with your local sources?
Well, that was quite a while ago. So,
I mean, you can be in the ballpark. It doesn't have to be exact to the decimal point.
well, I think at the time, the difference between, you know, 1% or less. And with a ladder tier of investment, still fairly liquid, these are, in the 2% range. That was definitely a different economy than where we are now.
Now, how long ago was that?
Oh, gosh, 6 years ago.
Okay.
And we had probably been in it for 5 years, so, the rates were a little bit higher prior to that. And, this is the downfall of the change the economy, but, it was a statutory regulatory change by the legislators about allowing municipalities and public entities to get out of an option of the SIP and helping them allow them other investment options and not as well as banking options as opposed to having to do a warrant system. So again, that component of it, I'm not sure if that's transferable as well to county and city, but it wasn't a good option for the investments. And the issue with the SIP program is the fund manager or the head of that, I believe, gets appointed with each different legislative session. That position. So the Board of Investments is a public group that I believe appointed through the current legislation. So, point to me that it can change.
Okay. Well, probably no harm in taking a look if we're not locked into anything at some point. See what our options are. See what our options are. And basically, that's what you're saying. What other options do we have, and let's compare. And how much funds do we usually have there waiting?
Usually it depends a lot on what part of the budget cycle we're in, but I think the last balance I saw was about 222,000 was in the SIP waiting to be used.
And that's a 1 or 2% interest rate per year, right?
It's close to 2%.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it'd be nice to see a chart of some sort and see what the options are.
You can do that.
All right. You still have the floor, Commissioner Sandberg?
Oh, yeah, thank you, I do.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other commission comments? Is there any public comment on resolution 4725? Okay. Roll call, please.
Chairperson Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopland. Yes. Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Or
Commissioner Sandberg.
4.
Motion passes. Our next resolution is resolution number 4726, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Livingston, Montana, accepting the sewer extension from homes on 400 and 500 block of North 10th Street and homes near the 700 block of North 10th Street, near West Reservoir Street. Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution is for the City Commission to accept the work that's already been accomplished up there. This was an extension of the sewer system along 10th Street to some new residents that have been built to tie them into the current sewer system.
All right. Is there a motion from the Commission on resolution number 4726?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I make a motion we pass resolution 4726.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Commissioner Friedman, second by Commissioner Hoagland. Commission discussion.
I have
Commissioner,
a virtual hand raised.
Commissioner Schwartz beat you to it. You're next.
that's all right. Let's sir go first.
Oh, okay. He
Ladies first.
He surrendered he yielded to you. You're on.
Wow, okay. I'm confused. Where does the sewer, if they're not connected, where do those lines go now?
If the question was if they're not connected, where do the lines go now?
These were extensions to the end of the sewer system. So they were either we were switching them from septic systems in the city sewer, or they were new builds that needed the extensions to tie into the sewer system.
We have,
Or other people laughing at me in the background, but that's okay.
no, there wasn't any laughing. I was turning pages,
Oh, okay.
sorry.
I
Did
guess
you hear that, Mike?
I
So
Yeah,
did,
the terminology of extension. What are we extending to areas that?
Yeah, so the extensions are exactly as they sound. The sewage system ended prior to the new homes that were being built. So we had to lengthen the actual sewer main so that the new residences could tie into that main.
And so are they residents that are just built then, or?
Yeah, there was one that was a brand new build, and I think one that is switching back onto the sewer system from septic. But that might have also been a new build. Not positive on that one.
Okay, and so where are they, so are these extensions already in then, or where are they draining now?
Yes, these extensions are currently in right now. We just finished the work, and that's why we're bringing it to you for acceptance. And they tie it into the new system with the new build.
So this is an after the fact approval.
Yes, this is just an acceptance to accept the maintenance cost associated with it.
And what are those treatment costs?
For these extensions, they're fairly short. They'll be negligible in the entire, as far as the sewer fund goes.
Okay. And is it, I'm not, Chairman Bennett, is it normal for us to approve these after the fact, or is it normal that this is how we do it before the work is done?
they're usually after the fact.
Okay, because I think if we deny it, that doesn't really the work that we did done.
That's true, we'd have to go back and dig it up again.
So I'm not sure, maybe that should be changed or something we look at.
Well, I think that, now when we're accepting these, it's been a while since we had one of these.
And while you're thinking this, I'm going to ask Mr. Carter another question as well.
Sure, go ahead.
When we say that it's negligible, these are not negligible, but a small amount of the maintenance, you may not have that information now, but do we have that information of what that figure is? That might vary in people's minds.
We certainly can get that cost for you. But as far as after the build is in the maintenance cost, you're not going to see anything for 10 to 20 years until, unless there's a line blockage or something like that. So it's going to be very small amounts over very long periods of time. And to answer the first question, I think the commission does approve this work, not specifically for each extension, but in the budget for the sewer fund itself. So these are just normal extensions that happen within that budget that you've already approved for the sewer system.
Okay, so I guess at some point, I guess I just need understanding of what exactly we're approving then. It is I mean, if we're approving the extension, it already happened. I would think if it's requiring a commission approval, it should have that approval prior to the construction.
Okay, well, let's look into that for future extensions and figure out what the proper protocol is with that. The new homeowners are paying impact fees, correct?
Yeah.
To help offset the extra load on the system.
That is partially what comes from, yes.
I would love to, yeah, it would be great to see some type of analysis on a home, so what it costs to put it in, what they're paying, and what the cost of the extra load is.
Okay.
I'd be interested in seeing those figures.
Commissioner Sandberg, can you yield for a question for just a moment?
Absolutely.
Okay. Commissioner Hoagland?
Maybe it's a statement from, from the resolution. it states that the city are hereby accepted by the city of Livingston sewer utility system. So we have to just document that we accept that we will now manage and charge for this system. And it's just, to me, that's how I interpreted the resolution. Is that enough to explain it? Just
That is also a portion of it. It's the official acceptance of the homes into the sewer system to include the rate schedule and to be charged for their sewage based on their water use.
That makes sense.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, Commissioner.
Yeah, I was supposed to be next to him.
Oh, can we yield for Commissioner Schwartz
Oh,
now?
no, Doral has the
Yes,
floor.
thank
Oh,
you.
Darrell.
I will.
No, I have the same question Sarah does. The language in it, it's making us accept something that's already been built. That's the way I'm reading it here. And if we're, if we're just accepting that we'll be maintaining and charging for the use of it, should be reflected better, I think. That is all I use.
All right, is there any other comments? Commissioner Sandberg, do you have any other comments on this?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the drone explanation makes sense, but even with that, I still think just got a formality that the commission should approve it first, because we don't want those people to, we don't want to put the expenses in and have them running on our sewer, and then all of a sudden the commission for some reason, I can't imagine what at this time, but who knows what it could be, would deny that. So I just think it's a better form of business to have the approval first before adding an extension.
Okay. Well, why don't we do this? We'll take a look at it and see how we, see what the statutes and the ordinance require of the city commission in this regard. And we'll just clarify it, because I think it's been quite a while since I remember doing anything like this, so it's not really 100% clear in my mind. So we'll find what that is, and we'll be informed here within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Great, thank you.
All right. Is there any public comment on resolution number 4726? Okay. We have had, we do have a motion. Roll call, please.
Chairperson Bennett,
Yes.
Commissioner Holton,
Yes.
Commissioner Friedman.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Or
Commissioner Sandberg.
Or
Motion passes. Tonight, we do not have any action items, so we're at city manager comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have much for you tonight, but I would like to remind everyone again that the street sweepers are out and cleaning the streets, so please check the schedule. Get your cars off the side so we can make the streets as pretty as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Sandberg.
thanks for accommodating and, taking up a phone for me to attend. I appreciate it very much. Happy to be out on work this week, so, my question is for schedule, do we have a planning meeting coming up, or just our next meeting, our next regularly scheduled meeting?
There's currently on 9 May a scheduled working group that starts at 5:30. The nominal title right now is North Livingston Development. We're just presenting an overview, including some of the transportation concerns that were brought up in the last commission meeting over the developments on the north side. So we're going to attempt to answer some of those and give a larger vision for what it's going to look like in the future on the north side of Livingston.
Okay, so that's, okay.
May 9th at 5:30 here in this room.
Okay, and, all right, and is that all it's going to be in the Northtown session?
No, not Northtown, North Livingston Development.
Or
The issues that revolve around the north side of northwest side of Livingston Development.
Okay,
Will you
and
be,
is that a working,
it's an open public meeting. Working group. working group.
Totally understand that.
Yeah.
All of our meetings are, that's it. Was that a response to the commission to do that, or what approach participated this working session?
What we've always been, what we always had on our schedule to do when our new city manager arrived was to schedule a meeting to go over the details of the underpass and anything that involved the underpass. And this is kind of like an umbrella aspect to it, including the underpass.
Okay. And then, so I know that I've been out of town for 2 weeks. I just don't remember the committee. I mean, I found some emails, oh, well, you at the working session. I just don't remember that we at the commission said, hey, we're going to meet on the 9th and discuss this.
No, we set that up at the last commission meeting, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Guess I just wasn't paying attention.
It's okay. There's a lot of things to remember in life.
And then as far as, I had some questions that I had heard, via email to, I think, Mr. Bennett and Mr. Pardue, about our debt summary. And we were gonna get an update, what date is that we're having that update?
We're currently working that presentation for you to make sure that we include some more of the information. I would estimate that we'll get that to you probably after the working group. There's going to be a lot of time spent on preparing for the working group, so I would guess by the end of next week you should have an update on the debt level.
Okay, great. I just didn't know if it was going to be an agenda item. I know you were saying that people would be Davidson, et cetera. So I didn't know if it was going to be in a separate meeting or a commission meeting or what was going to be the venue for the discussion.
It could be just sending out an email to inform the commission.
Okay.
The commission does. And if we want to put it on as an agenda item for a future meeting, we certainly can do that.
Yes, I don't think any need. I was curious how it was going to be disseminated from email. Great.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Commissioner Schwartz.
Okay, this meeting's at May 9th at what time?
5:30.
5:30. And that's here?
Yes.
Okay, because I see the City Board of Adjustments has the meeting here at 7 in the community room. I'm just.
Well,
I just want to make sure there's no conflict. I mean.
well, if there is, there's other meeting rooms in the building that we can either negotiate for. Or anything else?
No.
Okay. Mr. Friedman. Yes, on May 9th, we'll be taking my wife to Billings for an operation, so I'll be out of the loop that day. She's having, anyway, you could do this, but you can replace ankles. So she's having one ankle done, takes 6 weeks, and then the other one done, another 6 weeks. That's pretty much the summer, right there. So the pain is terrible right now, so I'm hoping this is going to work. I'm getting a lot of phone calls on my favorite subject of Livingston, through streets and no through streets, accidents, near accidents. So I asked the question when I first moved here. I just came down from Mars. How do I know what's a through street? How do I know that the person on the right has the right of way? How do I know all those things? Which don't work anyway. So I think sometime in the future we got to start thinking about this, and, especially around the library, and then Lewis Street around 8th and 9th, no stop signs. So, I make it a practice myself that I stop whether I have to or not. I don't trust anybody on the streets. So. But I am getting a lot of phone calls, and I think it's something that we probably should make a little study of in the future. and see if we can come up with something, so that's all I have to say. Hold on,
I'll
right,
continue
right
on
up your
that.
alley, right?
Shannon, at the last meeting, Mike had mentioned that we are waiting on the study that should be here in May. It's May, so I'm wondering, do we have a timeline?
It is May 2nd, so you're absolutely correct. Yeah, we're looking at the middle to the end. I would guess the 15th to the 22nd, but don't hold me to that. But I will double check and see if they're, that's the timeframe they gave us. But I will double check and see to make sure they're still on track for that.
Do you think we can put it on the next agenda, or do we have to wait until the June 1st?
My guess is we'll have to wait to the June 1st. We won't have it in time to get it out prior to the meeting on the 16th. 16th, yes. So
Can we tentatively put it on that agenda? Can I get a second, I guess?
You have a second?
Put it on the agenda for the first meeting in June, and then hopefully you have everything you need by then.
I will verify it. We'll get it on the agenda.
Also, something that we talked about putting on the agenda at some point, and maybe this is part of our list, the ordinance enforcement. And so I don't know when we could have a discussion and a presentation on how we plan to improve, better, keep the same, whatever. So I don't know what other commissioners feel about that, but I know we've talked about it multiple times, but because we're in transition, we haven't actually moved forward. What do you guys think? You ready
I
for
think
something on that?
Well, I think that we'll let the administration know that we're interested in having a work group. Probably it's going to be a focused type of subject, so a work group on how we're going to address ordinances in the city, and you let us know when the administration feels that they're ready to have that type of work group.
We will get that on the list, but I probably wouldn't expect it until after the budget is finalized. That's going to take up a lot of oxygen in the room for the next 6 weeks.
Okay?
Another one on the list that we have discussed in the past is impact fees, and having a presentation on our impact fees and how, what we have, what we could have potentially for new development, and any changes to that. So I don't know, down the road a ways, but if we could get that on the list.
Not so far down the road as you go.
Okay, all right, good. Two more things, street sweepers. So people have asked me a bit about it. We had discussed signage before, temporary signage. I know on our street, because I lived out near downtown, people parked there before the street sweeper could get there. So then people were upset because you can just see it, how it went around the cars. Are there any signage options coming up, or are we just avoiding that at this stage?
No, there actually are some signs out there already. There'll be some more. We're looking at some different options. There are some resistance to the signs that are there currently. So we're looking at ways to make everybody happy, or at least 80% of people happy.
And last thing, this is thinking ahead a bit, but City Commission is on the 4th of July this year. And we tend to, well, we have generally, since I've been on, we cancel it during that time. Or if we have to, we move it. But I know I'm thinking ahead a little bit, but it's really not that far off. Especially because people start to travel, and they know we're going to travel some of the time, and I just want to know ahead what we think for that day. Anything back?
Well, if it's on the 4th, then I think we can take it off and celebrate.
And not reschedule and have one that.
Well, it'd probably make it difficult on the administration to have 2 meetings, one back to back. Probably not have that, unless we have a lot of things coming up on the agenda that we want to squeeze into a 2-week period. That's one thing I can think.
The administration requests, if that's the case, we just have one really long meeting. That will probably be a time period that I'm actually moving my family, so I would appreciate not having a meeting that week.
Okay,
So just on the 18th, and plan the 18th as our only meeting in July.
okay. So any objection from any of the commission?
No, yeah, there's no 5 Tuesday, so yeah.
Yeah.
Got a lot of stuff we're down.
All right. What's up? Okay. I want to thank the administration for providing the war reports. It's a good way to kind of keep track of some of the requests that we've been making during the last month, so I want to thank you and appreciate that aspect of things. A few things, I won't take up this whole list because it looks like we're going to get out early tonight. Let's see. I noticed on one of the reports that there's the fast line grant that we have. When is that due to actually be decided upon?
We have requested that information and there is no deadline currently. In fact, there's even some rumors that whole program may go away. So they have not said that when they're going to make any decisions on grants and actually haven't decided if they're going to make any decisions on these grants.
Also appreciate that the growing number of reports from the different departments are coming into this activity report. And did have one question. The last one we got last week, it said law enforcement had 204 calls. Was that right for 1 week? That's what we think about. 4 calls. And I also noticed that in dispatch, we have a leak in the roof.
Yeah.
We do, it's not a plumbing leak, it seems to be a storm drainage leak when it rains, evidently one of the pipes up there is still leaking, so. Contractors are looking for, trying to find exactly where it is, but they had to wait till it dries out so they could look for the source.
Would it be easier to find the source when it was dripping?
And then everything's up, and you can't pinpoint.
Okay.
And they have a plumber on it.
They do.
Not a roofer, but a plumber.
All right, then I guess the only last thing I have is that at some point we want to get with the administrator, get with you to go over city manager goals. So is that a date we want to set now, or you want to wait until the next meeting? Yeah. Yes, wait till the next meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Put it on as an action discussion item for the next meeting.
Let me see if there's any last thing here. No, that's it. Thank you very much. We've come to that wonderful point of the evening. Is there any public comment? Of course. Yes. I guess you can double us.
Since it's not 10:30, I guess we're not exhausted yet. This is Liz Kearney with the Livingston Enterprise. I have a few questions. I was curious when I called Mike's new cell phone number and the previous city manager answered, the voicemail. Was that phone hanging out all this time or was somebody using it?
Go ahead, you can
I'm
answer
kinda
that one.
curious.
I don't have an actual answer to that, but my guess is that it's the same phone, it's just been hanging out, and I obviously need to go out and change the voicemail.
I mean, what was the expense for that? It's been kind of a long time.
I think the phone was shut off.
The service was shut off, but
The
it's
number
been
was
used.
cut. Number was kept, but the service was shut off. Yeah.
And another question about commission correspondence. I know the county puts theirs online. I think it would be nice to see yours too. You know, like
Oh,
you mentioned, the
correspondence, do you want, I mean, like emails?
emails you get, like the things you send out, it seems all that's pretty public too. And the county has a way of sharing that pretty easily. Some software, it must be expensive, I'm not sure.
you wanna, we're currently trying to figure that part out. The weekly activity report was a big thing. It was asked in the last commission that we make that public. And we will make physical copies available on Lisa's office if you want to pick them up. But we're still trying to figure out how to get them out there in a fashion that doesn't take me retyping them all into the web. So we're working on it, but if you need the physical copy, you can come in and we'll get you one.
It's more a general question than specific things, just because it's public at the county. And I had the same question Mel had about the driving on the 2 streets, and I did the exact same thing. I wanted to do a story about it. I was gonna pester Dale about what the actual rules are. Because, you know, the person on the right has the right of way, and they stop, you all stop and have a conversation. So it is a point of driving a town, you know. So it'd be interesting to have that Dale work on. Anyway.
We've been talking about it, Liz, for like probably 2 to 4 years. I mean, 2 at least I have. Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people would love for you to have an article on it.
And then maybe just clarify, draw some diagrams and kind of, hey, this is what I did. Okay, thank
I
you.
find I take Mel's approach, which is stop and just look at every corner. This is
I do
kind of
that too.
defensive way to do it. I think it's probably the best way to avoid accidents.
That's all.
Thanks a lot, Liz. Thanks, Liz. Is there any other public comment? Any other public comment for this evening? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion. So mission for adjournment. Yes. There is a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, I'd say no.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? This meeting of the Livingston City Commission is adjourned at 7:47.
I still want to.
I am.
Okay, good night, thanks for joining us.
Scan the email to me, you just scan the packet.